I'm Ultrazilla, and today I have a review of the Neca Godzilla 2003 Tokyo S.O.S. Is it Goji? I forget. I forget exactly what the Japanese designation of this one is. But yeah, this is one of the final pieces from Neca, unfortunately. But you know, it is what it is. They might be going out on a high note. I don't know. That's what this review is all about. Yeah, it's an interesting piece. I'll say that to start. I do like this design overall. Like, I like this design probably better than the one with the purple spikes before it from Megaguirus. And 2000, Godzilla 2000, but do I like it overall in the grand scheme of things? Probably a little bit low for me in the grand pantheon of Godzilla designs. But this is a more interesting piece. It does have the scarred chest and all of that. So, did Neca do a good job? Let's find out. So folks, this does not come with any beam effect or anything, so we don't have to really pay any mind to that. However, this thing is very interesting. I honestly don't know how I feel about it, and it feels like it's one of those figures that may grow on me. Now, that might sound negative to start, and if you watched my 89 review, I didn't love it. And I could say the same thing about this. But I do like this one a little bit more. There's a lot of effort here. A ton. Proportions are really pretty good, I'd say. There's part of me that feels like the head is a little bit too small, and then the feet are like way bigger than they should be. I don't know. But, unlike the 89, you know, I look at this and I'm like, okay, this is what it's supposed to be. The 2003, and the tail came out. So that's good. Not that the tail came out, but that's fine. That it looks like what it's supposed to be. I do think, and this is gonna be a weird kind of complaint. I feel like there's like too much paint on this guy. I watched a lot of clips. I didn't watch the whole movie right now, but of Godzilla right before this review, and he's closer to skewing towards more just a really nice dark charcoal gray without all of this work. However, this work is pretty nice. A lot of great paint work on this. You know, that's obviously NECA's forte, is their paint. They never lack in paint. And I've said this before, but sometimes they go overboard. This might be one of those times, but it does look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's pretty nice. And they painted it from head to toe, so you gotta appreciate the effort. The sculpt is actually awesome, and not that I should say actually in any sort of like derogatory way, because again, their sculpts are really good too. The dorsal fins look great. There is an enormous gap right here, but you know what? That's really, it's hard to avoid for the most part on a lot of these Godzillas, but here I feel like it's pretty prominent. I could put my finger right in there, so that's a big gap. The feet, you know, taken on their own, they're sculpted well, they're painted well, the nails look good, but they are really big, and so are the, you know, the legs are really big. Now you look at it like that, and it's like, oh, that looks good. But then it really goes from really large to really skinny, and whether that's like proper or not, I feel like in this figure's form, it sort of bothers me. Another thing that like my eye keeps going to is these here This is part of the design from Godzilla 2000 on, and I'm just not a big fan of. But I've grown to like it enough, you know? But here I feel like this is recessed a lot, and my eye just keeps going to it because it's creating such a large shadow in there. So, you know, it is what it is. That, you know, your mileage may vary on that. I do like how they did the scar, which is very, very cool. And this is what sets it apart from the S.H. Monster Arts, obviously, because S.H. Monster Arts is a 2002, this is 2003. And this is the major thing that separates the two, is this giant scar created by the, what was it, the Absolute Zero cannon. Yeah, it looks good. They did a good job on it. I really like that. The hands look cool. Fingernails look good. I will say, I feel like the plastic on the fingers feel a little gummy. More so in this hand. Nah, they're both pretty gummy. A little bit different. But the biggest talking point for me is the way they did this neck. Now, I know they wanted to get some articulation in here, but this is a soft plastic, and it just looks like a covering, you know? This harkens back to a lot of the stuff that Neca did with the Pacific Rim line with some of the kaiju, where they just kind of, you know, it was like a lot of the same sculpts, and then they gave them like pretty much different heads. You know, like, that just, you know, you could see it right away, especially when he puts his arms down. And I think this goes with what I'm saying. I feel like if they sculpted the arms out a little bit further, this would be less egregious, and it would take away from what I'm saying about the legs being bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that is a large part of it, because it looks big over here, and then it gets too skinny here, and then the legs come out too far. So it's more like, you know, maybe the legs aren't that bad if the body was a little thicker, because as you can see, this aligns better with the thighs, the hips I should say, than the rest of the body, and the arms go in too far. So it does end up looking really weird when it looks like that, and then the proportions don't look so hot to me anymore. But this is all sculpted well, there's no doubt about it. Again, paint is nice. Not really necessary, but, you know. And it's kind of yellowish, which is interesting. But there is a lot of paint on there. So it looks good. It's just too big, and it looks like what it is, a plastic cover here. The head sculpt, let's zoom in, looks really good. That is one thing I do like. I like the head sculpt. Again, maybe too much paint, but it looks good, so I'm not gonna like argue it that much. The mouth looks really good. Tongue looks like reddish black, and that looks really cool. It looks really wet and alive in there. Kind of gross, but yeah, it's good. There's some like, a little bit paint bleed on the lips there, but you know what? I'm sure Godzilla's not that clean. He's not that hygienic, so I'm not gonna go crazy on that. But it looks pretty good, like even head on, you can tell exactly what Godzilla it is. It looks really good. The eyes are done well. A little ear there. Look on the other side, same thing, really good. So nice head sculpt for sure. Overall, I think the look is fine, and the tail, is tremendously long. That is incredible. Looks really good. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where, again, there's things about it I personally don't like. Again, it's mostly that I feel like this body is just a tad small compared to up here and down here. So that throws me off a lot. But otherwise, it looks like what it's supposed to be. The scar is good. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Articulation on this Goji head. Has fair range of motion. It's not so bad. The jaw obviously moves. Then this whole piece up here, which is on this like soft plastic, can move around. It's not that bad. the upper joint here is very, very, very tight on mine. So, there we go. Freeing up a little bit. But very, very tight. Weird motion. It's kind of odd. Then hinge swivel at the shoulders. Same thing at the wrists. Same thing, well, at the elbow and the wrist. And then the fingers waggle. Lots of very soft plastics on this guy. It's very odd. Legs, you can get it to move a little bit more than some of the other Godzillas. Go that way, and then there's a hinge here, but boy, these guys. Rah! There we go. Very tight ratchets. And I shouldn't have done that without heat, but I did. And the legs move on ball joints of the feet here, I should say. Then the back of the tail has some pretty good range of motion. I do like how they sculpted out this part here, so that just moves inwards. That's a very Monster Arts thing to do. So kudos to Neca for doing that. You know, you get that throughout the tail pretty much, except for this piece. This is the piece where you attach it, you know, from this piece is off in the package. And that moves, that moves, that moves, and some bendy wire to end it. But lots of, oh, and there goes the tail. But lots of great articulation, I think, for a Neca Godzilla on this one. It feels a little bit more articulated, in my opinion. For your size comparisons, here's Godzilla 2003 with a bunch of figures you might have in your collection. And for those of you that wanted to see a comparison with the SH Monster Arts 2002, as you can see, very, very different figures. I do like this figure a lot. I know some folks didn't like it, but I do. I think it looks really good. Proportionally, it just looks much better to me. It looks more svelte. And as you can see, I mean, Monster Arts really doesn't lay on paint thick on a lot of these, and that's, some folks complain about that, but for me, I feel like that's more accurate to what we see on screen. And as you can see, I think they did a really good job here with the neck. You know, it might be a little bit long, but I think it was pretty long, honestly. So to me, this is a cooler representation. Dope. Overall, I feel like he could use some weight. That's for sure. This gives you more weight, but I think it's spread out a little bit weird. So yeah, I think they're both decent. They're both a little bit different, and I guess I'm fine with that. And my final thoughts, I didn't know which way this was gonna go. Out of the box, I didn't care for it too much. Didn't care for either one of these two new Necas that much. But this one in particular is growing on me a little bit quicker. I do like it. I do think it's got problems. I think the overall neck piece is both too floppy, because it's not like floppy, but like, you know, you could tell it's a rubber piece just thrown over because of the way it covers the arms. I don't really like that much. And I think it does recess too much in the neck. And then overall it makes the body seem smaller, but the legs seem very big as well. So proportionally it does have some problems in the center of this figure. And I think the paint is a little bit too much, but it doesn't look bad. So I have room in my collection for this. I do like it. I think it still looks like what it's supposed to be, and that is good. And I always say that is a very important part. You know, like, it represents the figure fine. So there you go, guys. That's my review. A little bit disjointed here at the end, because there's things about it that I do really, really like, and things about it that I'm very unsure of. So at this point in time, it's one of those things where I think you should get it because it's very cool, and we don't have an articulated 2003 at all. So yeah, you should definitely get it if you still can. Especially because they're not going to be around that much longer, these Necas, unfortunately. So I definitely think you should get it. And I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you dug it. Let me know your thoughts below. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram. Stay safe. Till next time. Peace out, peeps.